I can hear it. Yeah. Hello, good evening. It is the club call. There's a lot of echoey stuff going on here. I'm sure Ped will sort that now. He has done. It is Wednesday, the 13th of November. Joined by James in the hot seat tonight with me, taking your calls on Armando Broja. Or, I mean, the reality is, it's anything you want to call us about, really. Give your opinion. Ask our opinion if you want to. Or, you know, just vent. Or celebrate, rejoice, get excited over. All of the above. All of the above. James... Yep. Can Armando Broja give the Toffees a lift, in your opinion?
Well, I think he definitely had some options to like the side, because I don't really think we have someone of his profile who can play on the left. So I think that's definitely something that's unique about him. But I think as well he can also play up front. So I think it's a bit more added competition for like Calvert-Lewin and Beto.
Yeah.
So I think he's definitely a positive addition to the squad. But it's just whether he can keep him fit. Really, it's what I feel.
Yeah, I mean, the injuries have been a big thing, haven't they?
Yeah.
He's a player who I've liked for a number of years, but I understand people's reservations about fitness with him. I've said it before, if you can keep him fit, I think personally, he'd be a really good addition for Everton. I think to have that kind of strength, different profile to Calvert-Lewin and Beto, good on the ball, travels really well with the ball, strong, shoot with both feet. I think he can be really good for Everton.
Yeah.
It's just, he's got to stay fit. If he stays fit, I think he can be, you know, a real positive for us going into what is a very, very busy December. Yeah. We come back next week against Brentford and feels like a must win with the games we've got coming up, doesn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately.
And there'll be there's games. Everton play Manchester United on a Sunday. I think it's Wolves then on the Wednesday, I think. And then Liverpool early kick-off on the Saturday. And 3 big games there. Two really difficult games. And one that's very tricky, which is Wolves at home. And we're into the thick of it then, December. A lot of games in quick succession. You're going to need the squad, aren't you?
Yeah, it's sad that we haven't really capitalised on, you know, some of the easier fixtures that we've had to make this December a little bit less stressful. But still, ultimately, it could either be a really, really good Christmas or a really bad one.
Don't put your hopes of a good Christmas on Everton, James. Come on, I know you're a youngster, but you learn that, my mate. You learn that you've got to quickly put Everton over there and Christmas over here. Yeah. We'll see.
James is still waiting for Yelovich to jump out of a box for Christmas.
Yeah.
Right.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, you know, you could probably play with Yelovich on Pez. Oh, no, sorry.
Pez 06. Whatever.
He bins Pez off, doesn't he? He disrespects Pez.
He has. He's gone the wrong way.
Yeah.
It's gone the wrong way.
Disrespect it. I've just never played it.
Isn't that disrespectful?
It's not disrespectful.
I think so.
Feels disrespectful to me.
It'd be disrespectful to say that it was shit, but I haven't said it was bad. I just said...
And he's already dropping the swears.
Dropping the S before 6 o'clock.
5:05 and he's already dropping the
I
swears.
just said it was bad.
You know what's happened? He's been really solid so far, James, in his Toffee TV career. Who's entered the building today? And all of a sudden, there's been darkness. He laughed at my colourblind disability before. He's dropped all sorts of mad questions in today. He shrugged his shoulders. The influence of one. Ned.
I was sat with Ed there. Ned, sorry.
I mean, Ed. He's even given him a new name. He's not even respecting the memory of Ned.
For 2.5 hours and he just rubbed off on me.
He did. And you've just gone.
As long as you didn't rub up on you.
Culture, isn't it? It's culture. We're trying to create a new culture in here, and Ned, sadly, is rubbed off on you. Well, it was good to see Ned, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You met Ned this morning. Yeah.
He came in a really tight top to show that he'd been in the gym. All I could see was a chicken dinner.
I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. We will see. So it's good evening. So if you are a Premier member or you are a YouTube member, you want to call in and have your say, give us a point to discuss, talk about Armando Broja. Myself and James have just threw our quick 2 penneth worth in. I mean, Ped, for you, I know you do have concerns about Broja with the injury.
I wonder why.
Oh, I know, but But if Everton can keep him fit, he's a good addition, isn't he, to the squad, I think. Or, I mean, you might think differently, I don't know.
If he plays.
Well, yeah, of course.
His injury record, let's be honest, has been somewhat of an issue so far in his career. So...
But that's what I'm saying. If he can stay fit, he will help Everton money.
No, I know. But
yeah, I know.
I feel like, you know, I'm slightly sceptical of him once he's fit.
Okay.
But he's a good player, but he has to get on the grass. He's up there with Dele Alli at the moment, or just Dele, sorry. He's up there with Dele at the moment for injury records.
Yeah. He played 81 minutes in total for Fulham when he joined on January.
81 minutes.
Yeah.
Not
One assist though.
See? Already he's
not being funny, James.
One assist per 90.
I know you've not had much in your Everton career, but come on. In your Everton life, but come on, mate.
To be fair, and I don't mind Jack Harrison at all, but that's one more than Jack Harrison's at the moment this season, so there you go. There you go. I mean, just looking at his record there, Chelsea in 2020, 26 appearances, 2 goals. Then he went off to Vitesse on loan, played 30 games, scored 10 goals. Then he went off to Southampton on loan, 32 appearances, 6 Premier League goals. He did score a couple of cup goals for them as well. And then he got an ACL, didn't he? In fact, it was the summer when Everton were looking at him that he got classic Everton.
Yeah.
He got a bad injury and was out. And it took him a while to come back, didn't he? He come back in 2023. See, 2022. Come back. Had 18 appearances overall for Chelsea, 1 goal. 23-24, 13 appearances, 1 goal. 19 and 2 goals overall. Then he went off to Fulham.
Yeah.
And obviously
81 minutes later.
Got an injury, didn't he? And was therefore sub.
Yeah.
So his record is 23 and 121 appearances, but it's not 121 starts.
Yeah.
But he's just turned 23 in September. 6'3", travels really well with the ball, strong, can shoot with both feet. Something Everton don't have in the final third, that type of striker.
Yeah. And can play out wide.
And again, you know, we had Pochettino talk about him. Tuchel spoke about him. The ability he's got. Graham Potter spoke about him. All 3 of them said the same thing, is that he's got potential to be one of the best strikers, like forwards and strikers. I identify scoring a lot of goals, but one of the best forward players around.
Yeah. With
all of the tools that he's got. But it's putting it all together and it's staying injury free, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's the challenge for him now. Right, we're going to the line. We have got Dave Witch, the County Road Bobblers on. Good man. Is David. Dave, good evening. And what do you want to say?
Good evening, Jim.
No.
Can you hear us all right, lads?
Can you hear him?
No, yeah, no.
Hello, Dave. Sorry, couldn't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear us now, lads? Yeah.
Now, mate. Yeah. Off you go, mate.
My God. It's just another day in Planet Evertonia, isn't it? You know.
I'm quite chilled here. I don't know what's happened.
It's just you know what, I'm quite chilled now. I've got you know where you can't, you're not mad anymore, you're just disappointed. I'm at that stage, I think, now where like you say there, where you can't even be angry now. You just expect crap team selections. You just accept that you're going to see turgid football every weekend. It's just absolutely diabolical, and such a shame, you know, in our last season as well, that my uncle's over from America against Fulham. So he done a bit football wise and played professional, went out to the States and all that, got a soccer club out there. So he wanted to come over and see Everton, you know, at Goodison Park for the last game. So it took me to red light, but it took him undercover anyway. So he goes to the game.
Oh, okay.
And I was just sat there, just feeling really embarrassed watching Everton, because he was just looking at me like, "Is this it?" type thing. And it's just embarrassing. And I think even 2 rows in front of us, 3 fellas got up about half an hour in, all left at the same time, and they just didn't come back. And that just summarised it for me. And, you know, I've seen a fella in front of me fall asleep during the match this season, which I've never seen as well. It's turgid, isn't it? And I just can't wait for it to be over.
Can I ask you something, Dave? Because there's sort of a thing going around where it's not binary, of course it isn't, but do you think there's an argument, isn't it, that the players are better than what was shown? So one side is the manager's not getting the most out of the players he's got, or is it the other side for you, the players just aren't very good? Where are you on if I give you and I had to make you choose? Listen, the right answer is probably somewhere in the middle. But if I was putting you on a side of the fence, which side would you be on?
I think it's very clear for me. You've just mentioned one name there, Jack Harrison. And I was ranting about this on our pod's WhatsApp a couple of days ago, so I know the stats offhand. But in 3 seasons at Leeds, I'm playing on the left. You know, this player can play on the left, contrary to popular belief.
Yeah,
he's managed 21 goals and 16 assists in 3 seasons. I think it was like, you know, 9 goals each season. He's
playing for Bielsa, who's very
playing
demanding.
Attacking football for Bielsa on the left, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
So that's one example of a player that you look at in isolation then to say, could you get more attacking output from that player? Well, I don't think it's any stretch to say, well, he's done it over 3 seasons, for 3 Premier League seasons. So it wasn't just an off season. Yeah. Which you do see with players. That's 3 consistent seasons that he's done that. And he's not doing it now. So, you know, and you could go probably right the way through that squad. I know Dominic Calvert-Lewin's goal returns have not been the best, and I'm not making excuses for him by any stretch of the imagination. But, you know, at the end of the day, the way I look at it, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, we know is not the best 1-versus-1 finisher when he's got time to think. He never has been. He's almost better instinctively when the ball's fizzing into him in the 6-yard box. You know, obviously we harp on all the Ancelotti stuff, and I know he had better people, you know, sending in crosses for him and fisting the ball back at the time. But he got him to study Inzaghi at the time and just said, listen, I don't want you working much other than being in that box and putting the ball when you put the ball in the net when you get chances. It's actually statistically proven that we're crossing the ball less, I think, this season than any season over the last 5 years. And people might say, well, you know, he's a Premier League striker, so he should be scoring anyway, you know, when he gets a chance, whatever chance it is. But it's like putting Messi in a side that crosses the ball and fizzing crosses head height to Messi and not playing it into his feet. You're not going to get the best out of him. You know, you've got to look at what you've got and try and come up with ways to get the best out of them. Yeah. That's the whole point of being pragmatic. And, you know, he gets his reputation for, he loves almost, you know, saying he's a pragmatic manager. But is he getting the best out of Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Again, no, I don't think he is. That's 2 players now in our attacking kind of lineup. And then the whole thing with Beto, you can say he's a crap player or he can't control the ball and all that kind of stuff. I don't care, you know, but at the end of the day, again, has he ever had a run of games? You know, there's been plenty of opportunities, probably last Christmas. You sung me a song. Sorry, I gave you my heart, and the very next day you gave it away. But last Christmas, Dominic Calvert-Lewin was running on empty. He wasn't scoring goals. You know, we know he's been struggling in Dyche's system for a while. And Beto was available. He had a chance to play him for 5 or 6 games. Just say, look, here you go. You've got the jersey, 7 games. We've got loads of games coming over December and January. You know, you score 4 goals and then 7 games, you keep it. But he's never given a run of games. So again, that's another player that you can look at and say, is he getting the best out of him? No. Bill Manandai, you know, he's doing well for us, but again, he's played him out wide because he played him centrally last game, probably yes. It just goes on and on and on. You know, he goes on about depth, but we've had an £85 million rated centre-back sat on the bench for 3 games. Lo and behold, he comes back and we win a game. Sorry, we obviously ground out a draw the other day. And look a lot more solid. And last game Braithwaite started, we won. So it just for me, he's just not using that squad to the best of its ability. There are nuances to that, and I think that it doesn't help the fact that he's got uncertainty around his future because you know we've all been there when you're coasting and you can't really be bothered coming into work because, the boss is knocking off you. He's off somewhere else. You're off to a different department and what have you. You just take the foot off the gas a bit. And I think that's what's happening with the players. Deitch knows he's not going to be here. So he's, short-termism in the selections. The players know that Deitch is not going to be here. So some of them have just laid up, might just be 5-10%. I'm not accusing them of not trying. But maybe just look a bit, I don't know, a bit stale at the moment. So I think the whole thing's a bit of a mess. I'm sorry for my rants, but
no.
It's a long way of saying, no, I don't think he's getting the best out of some of the players.
That's what it's here for, Dave. It's you and whoever else wants to call in and say their piece on it and put their, I know you watch this show regularly, so you listen to us every day going on about it. So it's good to hear other people's view. I'd much rather listen to you than listen to my own voice, Yeah, listen, I don't think the uncertain... Is it uncertainty now? Does Sean Dyche know he's not going to be Everton's manager next season? I think probably. And I'm not convinced that... I know, like I said this yesterday, I'm not convinced it is helping the football club long term to have a manager that's running his contract. Not that he wants to, but that's just the nature of it. Because I think, I've said this before about players, footballers are a bit like children in, if you give them an excuse, they will take it. They'll take it. If what's happened, Everton don't win games, then players can look at the manager, can't they? Yeah. And go, not us, Gov. Yeah. And they're more likely to do that if they know the manager ain't staying. Because you start going, he's not going to be here anyway. Yeah. And whatever. If that's what's going, we see it at other clubs. Manchester United were a great example with Ten Hag. But it also leaves gaps everywhere. Because even if that isn't happening, it leaves gaps for people to fill in the gaps and go, look, the players aren't interested. We've had pundits this week saying Dominic Calvert-Lewin's down tools. Yeah. He's down tools, doesn't like playing for the manager. The manager takes him off after an hour, whatever it is. He's down tools, he's not interested. And all of these other things, we've had Brantwaite wants to go. So while there's a big load of uncertainty around a football club, it doesn't help, does it? And the Premier League is all about fine margins, and it's fine margins for us more than other clubs in some respects, because we're not blessed with tons of talent. But Dave's right there. There's other ways to use what we've got, isn't there? And if we just keep... Surely we're being a bit stupid if we just keep picking the same set of players and expecting them to give us different results rather than going... And I've said this before, Jack Harrison, for me, is much better off the left, because if you play him on the right, he has to check back 9 times out of 10 to put a ball in the box. Whereas he's got enough burst of speed to get himself a yard away from a defender and put a cross in. If he just has to get half a yard and throw a cross in, we're more likely to get on it, aren't we? Whereas if he's got to turn back every time. Good defenders know, Dave, don't they? You turn back once or twice in a game, all you have to do is not give you that opportunity to turn back and you're out the game. Yeah. Because he doesn't use his right foot. So...
I mean, he's going to come in there, so you just say to your defensive centre midfielders, don't you? Every time it goes out wide, just step in one.
Yeah, cut that lane off for him, yeah.
Yeah, and it's basically that cuts his route inside. And the problem with Harrison, and it's no offence to him because it's not his favourite position, but he doesn't cut in with any conviction or pace.
No.
So if you're going to come inside, you've got to come inside and be prepared to carry the ball 20, 25 yards forwards. But he almost comes inside, stalls, thinks about it, checks back again. The whole game slows down. If you watch like Mo Salah or Jared Bowen when he plays out there, both of them come in with some conviction and drive. And he just hasn't got that in his game. So, bar, tracking back and doing what Dyche wants him to do off the ball, he's just not offering anything there, of any note. And, and that's not against him.
Do you think the other thing as well, Dave, is when he comes back inside and he looks up, because Everton don't commit plays into the box, he's got one person to hit. And I was saying to you before we were talking about it, there's got to be some ball, hasn't it? Yeah. There's got to be some ball to take out 3 defenders and find one centre forward. Whereas if you've got 3 or 4 committing into a penalty area, it's easier to throw that ball in.
You've got to get a lot of power on the header as well. You know, if he does that kind of like, you know, the instep kind of dink.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, it's got to almost be between, you know, towards the penalty spot and the 6-yard box. You know, and you know you kind of got to get the keeper coming out at you, but the keeper stands his line. You know, and that dink, you know, you've got to really put your neck behind it to get it, you know, to send it back the way it's come.
And we need fullbacks running on the outside as well, don't we, to give people like Harrison that extra little bit of space as well. Because if our fullbacks aren't going beyond them, you can almost go man for man with them with the fullback, and therefore it cuts it off anyway. They're not scoring enough goals, are we? That's for sure. The
hard part is as well, you've got to pick this to pieces a little bit and think. It's hard to criticise individuals because you don't know what the instructions are. But I think we do know with the fullback that he doesn't really want them to gallop past the halfway line. You know, they're kind of limited and not overlapping too far. I know Mikalenko got a ball the other week, didn't he? That was it was a Tarks that knocked one out wide, and he was quite advanced. But the last time we see Mikalenko get out there, look, Lampard was rightfully sacked, so I'm not digging Lampard here, but Lampard for a period of time just got Mikalenko to keep galloping down that left. And it was creating space for us. I think, you know, ended up scoring a goal against Leicester, didn't we, as well? And he was getting more and more into the box and causing a few issues, but he's just not doing that at all. And it's, you know, you've got Young on the opposite side, probably playing all right at the moment, to be fair to him, but it's just, I mean, I'm with you. I like 3 at the back anyway. I would have went 3-4-2-1 or 3-4-1-2 a long while ago, you know, and used Harrison maybe as a left in the 4, or even McNeil if you want, just to change it up a bit. You know, maybe put Patterson on that right side, but it's almost pointless talking about that side of it because he's not going to do it. It's just not. It's going to. We know exactly pretty much what's going to happen in the next game, and the opposition do, the players do. You know, if you're a player on the peripheries of the squad, you know you're not getting in if you're not one of his favourite players, really, and it's just the way it is, and it's a bit grim, really, isn't it? It's just not great for the last season, and you know, as someone was saying before, you know, do you think he'll be here in the summer? And then going, I thought that he might be, but I think because of his stubbornness, because of the way, you know, the start of the season's panned out, I just don't see any way that the Viking group can't come in and think otherwise, but to sack him, because I think Juric had played one more game, had one more win, and had achieved 13 points. So even if he wins against Brentford, when we come back from the international break, that'll only even Juric's record that he got sacked on for Roma. So I just think he's a dead man walking, and yeah, it's tough.
So, but that's the thing, isn't it? And if other people feel like that, and if the players feel like that, and it doesn't help Sean Dyche, it doesn't help the squad, and it doesn't help the morale, does it? But you just have to. I think Everton are trying to, or the Freaking group will be trying to create momentum, won't they? And uncertainty doesn't create momentum. It's the half-foot, isn't it? The fear, uncertainty, and doubt creeps in. And you don't know what's going to happen from there. So it's not a great situation, but I mean, just on Broja, Dave, I know we can argue, we're not arguing, but we can discuss all day whether or not the manager will use him. But just on the whole, if he stays fit, he's a positive addition, isn't he? I think he is, anyway.
I mean, I wanted him from Southampton when he was there. You know, I know remember the game he played against us, actually. I think a couple of our players ended up in the book the first half because he was isolating them and running at them and all them kind of things that you want to see in your forward players that we probably only see out of Inzaghi at times. So, look, I think he's struggled since. He's had injuries and stuff, but we've had plenty of players like that, haven't we, in the past that have struggled elsewhere. Yeah. You know, Moyes used to be great at finding a player that just wasn't fitting in elsewhere, and we brought him in and he's flourished. So, yeah, no, he can't be any worse, can he, than what we've seen so far? Where does he fit in?
That's I don't know. Not a great bar, Dave, that is it. He can't be any worse.
No.
Fair enough, and I get it, I'm just saying.
Yeah. the weekend might be, an example where rather than playing Takure there, he could have probably played Broja there if he was available.
Yeah.
Well, just a bit more attacking intent. You've got bodies in there, and you're asking the opposition a couple more questions. But again, will he? Probably not. He'll probably still play Takure and bring him on for 5 minutes at the end. So, sorry,
okay,
lad,
Dave.
bit of a downer.
Okay. What I would say, Dave, is just enjoy this break. There's no Everton to worry about the weekend. Just enjoy this weekend.
Nothing to ruin the weekend.
No, you can have a worry-free weekend. We're edging closer to the takeover every day, That's not going to be much longer, I don't think. 3 to 4 weeks, it'll be done. So that's a positive. New stadium's looking good. So little bit of positivity, a little bit of chill time before this time next week when we all start going, oh my God, it's a must win on Saturday.
There is times now. I'm going to New York on Sunday anyway, so turn my phone off and ignore them for a few. In fact, I'm going to try and get the terminal, the New York Evertonians place, but that'll be no Everton.
No, well listen, have an amazing time in New York. Go and enjoy yourself, mate. It'll be fantastic. What a place to go. And all the deckies up now as well.
I think so, yeah. The big Christmas tree, what is it called again?
The Rockefeller Centre.
The Rockefeller, that's up, but the lights aren't switched on. But there's plenty of bars with all the Christmas stuff. And
Thanksgiving first.
Thanksgiving as well, of course, coming up, yeah. But listen, it'll be amazing, Dave, so go and have a fantastic break there.
Cheers, lads. Have a good one.
Right.
See you later.
Nice one. Thanks, Dave. Take care, mate. Ta-ra. Okay, if you've got a counter argument to Dave, do you agree with Dave? Is it all a little bit, is it grating on you a little bit? Get in touch. Is it positive? Can you see the positive? Broja, come on. Armando, if you're watching, give us a call. Tell us why you're going to give us the boost that I think you can.
In his London accent.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Gary Waters, howdy. Bill Koeman says, if the Freaking Group gets approved by the first few weeks of December as mooted, what immediate changes would you like to see? Also, what continuity do we need so it's not chaos? On Dyche, personally, we don't get wins in the next section of games. He has to go. As tough as December is, we may need a new manager bounce from letting him go. We need to look for someone to build long term with a progressive coach. But we can't just lose games, that's for sure, because we will be in big trouble. We need a CEO in immediately. Of course we do. We need a communications officer in so we can start afresh. That's for sure. Get them in the door quick as can. Get a new board in place. All these things need to really be happening as quickly as physically possible so that people do start thinking we're on the up now. It is a different Everton and we're moving forward. So that's
a bit of a plan.
Gotta be, hasn't it?
What it's been right now.
There's got to be. And people that think naturally will feel better once the Freakins have got hold of it. Yeah. They'll be like, right, someone is there to steer the ship now. So that's what, in my opinion, Bill, they need. Right, we've got Ben on the line. Ben, good evening. What do you want to say?
Afternoon, lads. You okay?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. You?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. On the way home from work. So if it sounds a bit shit, sorry in advance.
Fair play. Fair play.
Right. I've got two things. One thing is, what do you make of this Jake O'Brien news? I don't take media for gospel, but obviously there's linking of him going out on loan. One I want to ask is, do you want him to go on loan because Dyche probably won't play him, or would you like him to stay on the off chance our next manager plays him before the end of the season?
Well, what I would say, me personally, I'll go to James in a minute, is that if we're going to get a new manager, he may well be in place before the January window opens anyway. And if that's the case, he'll want to probably see Jake O'Brien. Yeah. If Sean Dyche is going to remain, then he may as well go on loan because you're not going to play him. He's behind Michael Keane. So,
yeah.
What do you think?
I think he's a young defender and he's done well abroad. So I think you're just stalling his development if you just letting him play on the bench. He's not really getting any game time. He's not really going to progress any further than what he's at now. So I think he's sort of got to go out on loan. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck in a similar trap to what you are in now with Patterson, where he's just sort of forgot about and no one really fights in his corner anymore. It's just, he's on the bench. So I think it's important something has to be done. Otherwise, you're just going to lose a lot of value and just ruin his career for him. So I think definitely loan him out. Unless there is a new manager who, would want to play him. But it's dependent on who's in charge, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, my next one is sort of everyone's talking about sort of increasing our attacking. Our attacking's not good enough, whatever. And I know Dyche ball is awful, but I'm thinking at this point, because we've got a tough December, why not just full send it and do 5 at the back? Don't put a striker on. Put Njai almost in a central attacking midfielder role. And then just having loads in midfield, loads in the back, make it ugly, like we say, get the points, grind them out. And it also helps Broja out because if you're playing Njai in that sort of attacking midfielder role, you're going to have to adapt those players to playing like that. And it more suits Broja's style anyway. So I actually think it would actually be better for us to set up like that going forward under Dyche just to secure more points because at the minute, lobbing it across the defence to Calvert-Lewin, who may or may not get it every other game, it's just not doing it. So you may as well just clump all up at the back in midfield. What do you guys think about
that? I think in some games that's probably not a bad idea if you're trying to dig out points. But I do think Brentford and Wolves represent our best 2 chances of points over the next few games. And I feel like if we play like that against those 2, we'll be in real trouble because that'll be missed opportunity. Yeah. Got no issue playing 4-5-1 against Liverpool and packing midfield and trying to sit in and see what we get. Similarly, Arsenal, Manchester United. But I think the Brentford and the Wolves game at home, they're the 2 games, James, we've got to win, haven't we?
Yeah, especially after the recent results with Southampton and West Ham and stuff where we haven't really got the points yet.
No.
I think these type of games, we need to sort of get at them, but Dyche doesn't really want to change up his style, is he? So whether he'd take this idea, I don't really know.
Yeah. There's a sound plan there, Ben, don't get me wrong. Pack it all and try to get something out of it, definitely. But I think the 2 games where I wouldn't do is the 2 home games against Brentford and Wolves.
But do you not think that the way he's going to start everyone the same way and he's going to play the exact same way? I honestly think we're going to struggle to get those results at Brentford and Wolves with how we're playing at the minute. Obviously, we allude back. The squad is better. It deserves to be, scoring and winning these games fairly comfortably, but that's not how it's going to happen. So that's why I'm kind of saying let's do that because at least we can sort of more guarantee a point. Yeah, it'll be boring, it'll be dross. But if we just keep hoofing it like we're doing and get on the counter attack, it's just not going to work, is it?
You just nearly crashed into someone there and you were getting the horn was on. Yeah. Road rage live. You are, aren't you? Putting yourself on the line. Yeah, listen, I get it. But saying we're not going to attack more playing like that and then asking him to change his system to go into a different way of playing is one of the same thing, isn't it? So while your argument to do it is sound, as in I understand where you're coming from, I still personally think we should be getting after Wolves and Brentford because they, for me, represent the best opportunity. And if Everton beat both of those teams and nick a draw in 1 or 2 of the other games, we'll have far more points than setting up for a draw in the next 6 games anyway. So it's a little bit of risk and reward, but the manager will seemingly do what he normally does anyway, which will be play the same way. So we just got to hope we take the chances when they come.
All right, well, last question then. Would you rather us lose to Wolves and Brentford badly under Dyche and then he gets sacked, or would you rather us coast draws against the both of them and then suffer defeats to United and keep him to the end of the season.
Well, I'm never going to advocate Everton losing football matches.
Yeah.
So I'm going to plead the fifth here.
Yeah, I think either one of them's bad.
Yeah, you're giving me. You weren't even giving me. You weren't even giving me a decent alternative either.
There's no good payoff.
I honestly thought you were going to say lose badly to Brentford and Wolves and then like beat Liverpool or something.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
that.
He didn't even offer us Liverpool.
Realistic outcome here, Baz.
I can never advocate Everton losing games of football. So whatever.
So, even if it means that we could potentially shift it up, or you would rather just dodge ball till the end of the season and coast by and be frustrated and potentially lose your head.
I'll again, just to reiterate, won't advocate Everton losing games of football, Ben. If that happened...
Baz, you can't go any greyer than you are. Stop doing it to yourself.
Oh, I can. Trust me, I can. And I can lose me hair as well with the stress of it. But neither will happen. I've got new Just for Men coming anyway, so don't worry about that. I'll be dark. I'll be like James soon. Don't you worry about that.
Set up a turkey fund for you.
Do it. Do it.
No worries, lads.
Cheers,
Thanks for
Ben.
answering the
Listen,
questions.
drive
Okay?
carefully. No more road rage.
Cheers, lads.
See you
Bye-bye.
later, pal. Ta-ra.
But
There you go. Let's have a look at some of these while we wait for our next one. Celtic VAP says, I see another DCL in Broja. Okay, well, I mean, listen, he's only on loan. Probably injury prone, maybe, but he's only on loan, isn't he? Banastic says, he's a YouTube member, says, reckon Deitch is going after Freakin comes in. Possibly, mate. I mean, a lot of people who buy clubs, and consortiums and all that, put their own people in, don't they? When they go in, and sometimes the manager's doing all right and they just come in anyway and redo it. So it wouldn't surprise me if they come in and just go, right, we're getting rid. We want something better than this.
Yeah, it makes sense. If you're buying something, you want it ran out. If you're investing all the money, you want it ran your way, don't you? So,
well, look at what I know. People have looked at what's happened at Rome and gone, well, look at this. But what they did at Roma, they give the Rossi the job, and obviously his end of season form wasn't brilliant. If you look at it as a big chunk of games, they bought him like Artem Dovbyk in the summer and things like that, and his opening few games weren't great. Now, okay, for whatever reason, he came to the conclusion that it's remove the Rossi.
Yeah,
you know, whatever. Now, Lena Shuklova, is it? Or Shukala, who was the CEO, took the brunt of that, but that was, I think, she suffered the brunt of it because basically the Freakins aren't in Rome, and she is. So they went to the next highest person, and obviously they turned up, their ultras turned up at the kids' school and all that, so she was like, enough is enough, you know, this is football, that's not for me, because obviously they're very, very passionate in Italy, and you know, they want people to be held accountable. She went, and then they made a change with Ivan Juric, which was a curious one for me, but they went for him. And what they've done is they've looked at him and gone, not good enough, mate. Yeah. Not good enough. I mean, there was a statement from the sporting director the other day that was basically like, this is Roma, and we 4 wins in 12 isn't what Roma do, so he's on his way. That's standards, and they've made the decision quickly. They've gone, not good enough. No matter what is going on around it, you're gone.
You're not fearful, though, that sort of approach is sort of what Machiri's done at Everton before? Because they're only 12th now.
Right, so what I would say, right, good question, and I've seen other people saying that, right? So if we break it down, right, we can look back on the Machiri tenure and go, his first managerial appointment was Ronald Koeman. Okay, good first season, finished 7th. We actually should have finished higher, but hey-ho. Finished 7th. Spent a lot of money in the summer, which we did, but 37 number 10s for some reason, but there you go. And we didn't have a very good start to the season at all. Now, you could argue he pressed the panic button a little bit quick. But I walked out that Arsenal game. They beat us 5-2 at home. A team that spent a lot of money, having finished 7th. Yeah. You would expect Everton to be moving towards the Champions League places, saying you'd get there, but you're moving towards that. And they battered us that day. They battered us 5-2. And I think a lot of people left that stadium saying he's done. He's done. So he sacked Koeman. Right? Yeah. Now, what he did wrong, my opinion, put Unsworth in charge. He sacked Koeman with no plan. Yeah. Instead of going, this doesn't look good for Ronald Koeman, I'm getting a bit fidgety because he's not producing. Therefore, I'm going to sack him. But before I'm going to sack him, I'm actually going to see what's around. Now, okay, he wanted Marco Silva, who was the Watford manager. Yeah. But he was only just a Watford manager. So he was doing really well, but he was only just a Watford manager. So it was always going to be, they were always going to fight him to keep him. Yeah. I know that Thomas Tuchel was interested in taking it, and we ignored that. He then battered his eyelashes at Diego Simeone, who had a wobble about coming. Yeah. Well, you should have gone and made that wobble go away by saying, "We'll give you more money then. I'll give you whatever you want if you take the job." Anyway, he let the Unsworth thing run on too long, and he eventually panicked and couldn't get Silva, and he appointed Sam Allardyce, who come in and done a job. Now, Sam Allardyce, for me, is probably, in all of that time, the only manager, really, who can turn around and say he was harshly treated by Moshiri. Yeah. Whether you liked him or you didn't, did I want to move him on? Yeah. But he was the only one. He got Everton 8th, come in at Christmas. Okay, he might have done all right anyway. I believed he would have, but he's done it. Yeah. They were in no danger of relegation. They end up 8th position. And Allardyce shot himself in the foot by not playing a bit more expansive football when we were safe, when we were comfortable. So we removed him, and a lot of people were made up. Most people were made up. He went, not everyone, but most people went, yeah, get rid of him. Marco Silva come in then, in a big blaze of glory. People were happy, coming with Marcel Brands. Yeah. We had a solid first season, done well at the end, finished the end really strongly. That summer, the recruitment wasn't great. Despite there being money, the recruitment wasn't great. As in, we lost Ghana, we lost Kurt Zouma. We didn't replace either adequately. Yes, Jean-Philippe Gbamin come in, but someone else should have come in with him as well. He was going to do Ghana.
It was very unlucky that as well, though.
Well, it was unlucky, of course. It was unlucky. Listen, he looked like a really good player. The injury killed him. It was good. And Kurt Zouma was a big miss. He was, because we tried to get him and Chelsea wouldn't let him go. Silva struggled. He made the mistake by appointing Boa Morty as his number 2, because his trusted number 2 left to manage for Millicao in Portugal. He appointed Boa Morty. We shouldn't have allowed him to. He was the wrong choice. Personal stuff with Everton in the past, and he was just the wrong choice. And that went wrong. And then Silva got sacked. Now, I wanted Marco to stay. I'll be honest. I didn't want him sacked when he did, but we sacked him. And then we got Carlo Ancelotti. Everyone's made up. Yeah. Carlo left of his own accord. A couple of things going on. Then we got Benitez. So Carlo's out of Moshiri's hands, say. Yeah. We got Benitez, which was a horrific decision. It was the start of the end, wasn't it? Yeah. And he sacked Benitez, and everyone agreed with Benitez being sacked. He gave it to Frank Lampard. You can argue all day whether he should have got it, he shouldn't have got it, but there was Frank Lampard and there was Vitor Pereira. But Vitor Pereira would have gone on Sky and shut up. He might have got it, but he didn't, and Lampard got it.
Yeah. And Bielsa was in the...
So therefore, he then sacked Frank Lampard at a time when everyone agreed he deserved to be sacked. He'd won one game in 13 like Benitez, so what's good for the goose is good for the gander. He went. Yeah. People wanted them sort of removed during the international break going into the World Cup because there was a big space there. Yeah. But if you actually look at the run of games, he'd only lost 3 games in about 10 when he was sacked. So it wasn't like it was terrible. It was just that week was terrible. We come back and it fell to bits, and he removed Frank Lampard. Not too many people were moaning when he removed Frank Lampard. Yeah. Then he appointed Sean Dyche. Yeah. Okay, Bielsa was one end of the scale, Dyche was the other, and he went for Dyche. Dyche had a 4-month spell last season and no wins in 13, whatever. So the others were sacked for a better record than that, and he wasn't. So if you look back on Moshiri's reign, I think you can only say Sam Allardyce was the one who was treated harshly. Yeah, I would suggest a big portion of Evertonians didn't want Sam Allardyce to remain any longer than he did. We'd have probably been fine with Allardyce. We'd have probably remained 7th and 8th with Sam Allardyce because it's just the way he was, but it wouldn't have been great. So when you say Friedkin's doing that, smacks him Machiri, if you actually don't rewrite history, if you actually go back, I don't think many people were banging the drum for a manager to remain in post when Machiri removed him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, his choices, you'd shake your head at a couple of his choices. You could argue, should he just gone like that to fit Duncan Ferguson to take the team? Because I don't know what else I'm doing. You have it. Do you know what I mean? Because why not? Duncan was there, whatever. You can argue that all day. But I'd rather have Duncan had it than Rafa. But I wouldn't have ever appointed Rafa Benitez. There was lots of other... David Moyes basically stalled on a contract at West Ham because he thought Machiri was giving him the job. And it didn't happen. And he gave it, whoever, Benitez got it from either Machiri or us. So when you worry about what the Friedkins will do and people liken it to Machiri.
Yeah. But the only worry is as well, though, is that wasn't the talk that they were going to bring back De Rossi and that was like a consideration for Roma, which is...
Well, maybe, but they could then turn around and listen, you can pin it on everyone, can't you? But they can turn around and go, we misunderstood the situation, or we've made a huge mistake and we apologise to the fans, we're listening. There's ways they can bring people back. It's Italy. They move from one club to the next and don't care.
I think for us, it's more like, there's two ways of looking at it, isn't it? It's all like, it's what happened before Carlo and what happened after Carlo. What happened before Carlo, and obviously with Carlo, is all trying to get the best for the club and take it somewhere. And after Carlo, it was all just trying to keep the club afloat. Every decision that's been made after Carlo is short-termism to try and keep Everton in Premier League while the stadium was getting built. The understanding that there was no money, maybe the understanding that the PSR rules were coming in. It was all very, very short term. But before that, it was a completely different situation. It was all seen as a way of getting Everton into the top 6 or 7 and being in Europe. So it can't be looked at in one big chunk, because it's not one big chunk. But I think, because I was talking to someone about this today, someone who's in the game and looks at things a little bit different. I'm talking about the idea of what is the expectation of the Friedkins coming in. And I think I said this last week, is I think fans will have more patience this time, because I think when Machiri come in, he sold us an image of Everton being a team that were going to fight for the Champions League. So when we were like 7th and 8th or even like lower, it made us feel like we were underachieving and we could do better, and we needed to get a better manager and better players, and we had the money. And we did have the money. We were spending money like it was going out of fashion. But there was no plan. And I think that's where the Friedkins have got to come in and go, right, we've got this plan and we're going to appoint these people and we're going to buy these players. But as a fan base, you've got to stick with us and not be going mad if we are in like 10th, 11th, 12th place. And my argument was, well, I think Everton fans probably will be quite happy with that. If you sell them the plan and you explain the plan in a way and say, we're putting this manager in who's forward thinking, who's going to take him time to build, the squad's not great, but we're going to build and we're going to improve. And I think fans, certainly in a new stadium, and I've seen something where it's like everything's comfortable and you're not looking over your shoulder as much, they'll go, right, we can buy into this. And it's about that's all it's about, isn't it? Buying into something. And I think under Machiri, certainly, like, I think Marco Silva's probably the best example of that. Is like that was the new dawn. That was a new director of football and a new manager, and it was hand in gloves kind of thing. And when the director of football wasn't allowed to keep him at the club, that's when the alarm started ringing, didn't he? And I think, again, it's that thing of like, leave the director of football in charge. If the director of football really wants this manager, let him have this manager, because they've got a plan, let them. But Machiri just didn't have a clue because he had too many people in his ear. And I think that's the thing he's got to get right. Director of football with a manager, Let the director of football do his job and explain that to the fan base. And if you're the Freakins, don't get involved.
Yeah.
Let them run the club.
Do the football stuff.
Let them run the club. You're not the experts. You're the business expert. You're the people who are going to get the most out of the stadium and the sponsorship deals. Leave the football decisions to football people. And if you believe in your sporting director or your, whatever director of football, then they'll tell you when someone needs to be replaced. And I think that was the biggest problem with all of those, is that they didn't listen. They fought so hard to get Brands to Everton, and then they didn't listen to him. Yeah. And whether you like Brands or you don't like Brands, they like Brands, but they wouldn't listen to Brands. And I think that's what has to happen. And that whole thing has to be explained to us as a fan base and go, we're going in the right place, got the right people, but it's going to take a little bit of time. And if fans should be like, yeah, you know what, we've seen what rock bottom looks like. We've been there.
Almost,
exactly. So we all just need to chip in, do our own little bit.
I think people will do. I think people will do when these take over and people can relax a little bit. People will understand and go, right, let's do it. You know what I mean? Because what else can we do?
Yeah, instead of just hoping for Champions League, you can actually build on a manager. Because it's like when we were speaking from round the tower, before David Moyes came to Everton, we were in a bad place, and he gambled on a young manager who was able to build up a really good squad. I think Everton are now in a really bad place, and it's time to maybe gamble on a young manager who can really build a good squad, and then we can develop from there. So they're the same thing. So I think
you see it, don't you? You see it with, like, look at, I know Villa went and got Emery, but look at Villa in the Championship 5 years ago in the Champions League, and you see other clubs.
Same with Newcastle.
Look at Newcastle, okay, they had a lot of money, but they haven't spent the money people thought they would, because you can't. They've had the investments and they've done really well, and Eddie Howe spun that round. They were going down. That Christmas, they won one game by Christmas, one game, and the second half of the season they hit unbelievable form and they rode on the crest of a wave. The Everton are going into a very good place from the summer, a very good place, and going forward. So depends what you do now. If the Freakins decide that Sean Dyche is the man to take them forward, then they need to sort of put that to bed, that he might be leaving, and go, we've given him a contract, we're extending his contract. I don't believe that'll happen, because I think they want their own people, like we said before. So if they want their own people, getting the telly's off, so I don't know who it is.
Sophie.
It's Sophie, okay. Then their own people need to be in ASAP, really. If their vision is build this team and build it over a period of time, then you have to do it that way. Hello, Sophie, good evening. What do you want to say?
Nothing.
Can't hear it. You're on mute, Soph. It's all right, we wait for you. We'll wait for you. No, okay. We'll keep talking till you're ready, Soph. And we can hear you. And I would suggest they'd want their person in sort of immediately, because then you can start doing things like try and, check Branthwaite, what's actually happening with Jarrod Branthwaite. Are you leaving, or do you want to stay?
I think the amount of players that are out of contract now,
and that's the other
bit of
thing.
clarity on, are they staying or are they going?
See, don't you think that when you think of it that way, there's a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You leave the man, just say for argument's sake, their decision is, we're getting rid of Sean Dyche, but we're not doing it till the end of the season. You've got to have a new manager coming through the door at the end of the season, so June.
Yeah.
Coming into a fresh thing to get a grip of it. You've got so many players who are leaving at a contract. You're going to you're leaving Goodison Park, the place that you know. You're going to a new place while also trying to get the business going. There's a lot of work there to do, and I think, and I'm not alone in this, but I think people are thinking they'll replace him quickly and get their own person in, and then start a plan moving forward. Sophie, you there?
Yeah, I can just try. Yeah, can you hear me?
You're just a little bit quiet.
Can you hear
But
me?
Yeah.
go on, Soph. What do you want to say?
Yeah. I'm just sick of people like defending this manager.
Right.
I find this on it. I find us being like bottom of the table. I think we got better players. I really think we have.
Yeah.
Jack Harrison, the best form. Leeds fans tell me that. Sorry, just my start using this. At Leeds fan, Jack Harrison plays better on the left. Iliman and DI should be in the middle. Yeah,
You've gone against Soph. Well, Ped tries to get her back there.
Oh, she's back.
Oh, you're back. Go on, Soph. Sorry. Jack Harrison on the left,
Yeah.
Iliman and Jai in the middle.
Yeah. I think Calvert-Lewin wants to get him. He doesn't look interested. His body language doesn't look right. I think Beto's better when we're not lumping up to him. He doesn't know how to use the ball. And also think that we need to demand better as a fan base, better standards. Not just saying like, 17th has scored, 17th. No, aim higher. So the aim should be winning.
Do you think some people are just terrified of relegation and therefore they think that Sean Dyche is almost guaranteed to keep Everton up, so they just sort of accept that, or they just think he'll keep us up, so therefore why would we change it, because they think the players are worse? Do you think maybe that's it?
I think maybe, yeah. I think people are fighting relegation, but it just annoys me when I see Ipswich going the way to Spurs having a go. Are you still here?
Then we've lost you again, Soph.
Oh,
She's talking, it's just not coming through.
Okay. I mean, do you think that? Do you
Yeah,
think it's not the way Everton are sort of playing, the way Everton are doing things? People are really concerned this season with relegation, just because we're going into the new ground. No one wants that, best ground in the Championship, so to speak. And because of that fear, there's almost like a comfort with Sean Dyche that you think we're not going to get relegated if he stays.
Yeah.
And people are, I'm not saying that's wrong, by the way, just saying that I'm just trying to look at the situation. But in doing that, you're also excluding the fact that you could get this manager in who elevates this team, so you're not in trouble anyway, but you actually are building you're building moving forward. Do you think that might be it more than just you hear people who it's quite like binary. Sean Dyche is amazing, he's a miracle worker, or Sean Dyche is the Antichrist, he's the worst thing ever. Do you know what I mean? And it seems to be like a real you pick one. Pick your poison, you're either with them or you're against them. There does feel like there's a lot more against them now, but the ones who defend them, do you think a lot of that's coming from a place of we'll stay up with them and therefore we'll begin next season in the Premier League?
Yeah, but I think if you stick with it, like what you were saying just in the last question, if you stick with him, he's got to be the one to go into the new stadium as well, I think, because of how much work there is to do. So I think it's a big decision about whether you do stick with him or not, because I think you're not going to get relegated with him, but they said that about Sam Allardyce, and then Sam Allardyce eventually got relegated, so it's how long can you push it until he does get relegated, and then we look stupid being in the Championship with this new stadium. So I don't think I'm on the side of we're definitely not going to get relegated till we have Sean Dyche, because I think some of the performances that we've seen, they're not the greatest, and we've not took points that we should be getting, but that you'd assume we'd get with Dyche as well. And I think it's a bit of a tough one, isn't it, about what camp you are in, but I think you've got to switch it up, really, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't think listen again, we've said it with a few things. I don't think there's a right or there's a wrong answer. I think, and don't forget, football's a motive, of course it is. We've all got opinions, of course we have. And we'll see football slightly differently, everybody. Do you know what I mean? You can argue a new manager gives you the new lease of life, and players who have been underperforming, all of a sudden, if you got, say, like a more attacking manager, that might benefit Jack Harrison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Beto, Lindstrom and whatever, and Everton might start scoring more goals. Yeah. Of course, you always need better players. Of course you do, but that's a journey that every club has to go on to get to the place where it wants to get to. Yeah. Isn't it? It's just varying levels of it. Yeah. So...
I think we might have Sophie back. Jared Branthwaite's out of the England. He's out the England squad. Gone back to Finch Farm.
Okay. Hang on. Jared Branthwaite is out of the England squad. He is returning to Finch Farm for treatment.
Right. Can you hear Sophie?
Hello, Soph.
Hello, Baz.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, go on. So you were saying Jack Harrison on the left, Illiman and Jai in the middle, and we should be aiming higher than 17th because it feels like people are thinking 17th is good enough. I guess you don't subscribe to that theory that we should be aiming for 17th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want better.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, Soph. And again, we're just saying there, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I think some people are doing it from a place of fear. Some people are doing it because of that line I was just saying to James of the best ground in the Championship, so they're terrified. But I wouldn't ever sit here and tell those people they were wrong for that. But in doing that, you're also cutting off the possibility that you change your manager, say, if that's what you're advocating, and that manager comes in and plays a different way, and all of a sudden you rise up the league. And that's not a worry anyway, but you're already building for the future.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, because the ball gets lumps to Calvert-Lewin every week, doesn't it? And I don't blame him if he wants to get off just for that, to be fair. Because no one around him, you'll get fed up, wouldn't you?
Because as a player, you've got to have that selfishness of, how are you using me the best? And if Dominic, and again, I've never had the conversation with him, so I would never ever know, but if he thinks they're not using me, I'm looking like a worse player every week because they're not playing to my strengths. They're not creating. Every striker, I played as a striker. Every striker wants loads of chances. That's what you're bothered about. You're not bothered about running back and defending. You have to do it, but you're doing all of that other work to get those chances at the other end of the pitch. And if you're a centre forward and you're not getting anything, and then you're getting dragged off, no one wants to be subbed. Nobody, unless you're knackered or you're injured. You don't want to be subbed. And if you you're looking over to the bench nervously thinking, am I going off in a minute? Yeah,
you've only got 60 minutes.
You know what I mean? And you haven't had chances. Yeah. And I get everyone who'll turn on and go, but he had chances at Ipswich. I get that. I get that. I said myself, outside the box. He holds
the ball up.
Yeah, he was great at Ipswich. Until the thing of actually scoring goals, which he had a nightmare that day. But if he'd done that every game, I could understand people going, he's not good enough, misses chances every single game, and we need to change him. But he doesn't get loads of chances every single game.
He's an outlet, isn't he? He's an outlet, isn't he, Baz? He just holds the ball.
Yeah.
And he needs people getting around him and that.
Definitely,
do you believe the rumours that he wants 150 grand a week?
150 grand a week?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say no, because football, don't forget, they pay something like 50% tax as well, don't they, or whatever. So the higher the number wouldn't surprise me, because obviously they want the bottom line getting it increased. So, and he's out of contract, so I wouldn't say it's a no. So I think them figures are probably correct. And we can argue, well, not argue, we can discuss all day whether we think he's worth that. And clearly, he's not worth that to Everton because he doesn't score enough goals for us to go, he definitely deserves that. But if someone else says they'll pay him, well, that's it, isn't it? But if someone else says, Sophie, I'll give you 150 grand a week if I don't have to buy you, if you walk out your club for nothing, and you're sort of wanting to change anyway, and you're not enjoying it, then you're probably more likely to go, actually, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
It's probably his last big contract as well.
Of course, he's 28, isn't he, this year? So he's not getting this again, is he? So I'm not saying I agree with it, because I don't. I'd rather he nailed his colours to the mast and said, I want to play for Everton. But I'm just saying, like the other side, it's a job at the end of the day to him. He's not an Evertonian. And even if he was, it's still a career thing. It's still a job. You still want to do the very best you can at whatever you do, don't you? So, again, I'm not, like I say, I'm not defending him, so to speak, but I'm just offering a view of, like you said, Sophie, you can understand it if he's not enjoying it. And therefore, it's like, this is a bit crap, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, tell you what, I'll be absolutely worried if we don't beat Brentford and Wolves. Goodison.
Oh, God, yeah. No, I will. To be honest, I'll be thinking we're giving ourselves so much to do, because we'll have played Brighton at a good side, but they were beatable on that day. But we'll have had Bournemouth, Fulham, Crystal Palace. Okay, we beat Palace, but then we'll have had Wolves and Brentford. Out of those 6 home games, Newcastle, who didn't have a striker on the night, there's 7 home games, and if we didn't beat them, we'd have won one of them. That would make the alarm bells go, given you've got City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, or Man United all to come out the other 12. So then you're talking about, what, 5 more then? Oh, sorry, no, 7 more, aren't you? Then 5. Spurs, who we don't beat. So you're talking then 6 more to come. You'd have to win all of those 6, and they're against teams like Nottingham Forest. And
you were flying.
Those kind of teams.
Which won't be easy, will it?
No.
Forest are flying, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. So we have got to, Brentford is a must-win. People can play it down and go, no, it's not. It's just keep ticking up. Brentford's a must-win. Must-win.
Yeah.
To just get a bit of momentum, and also to take the pressure off going into what is a very tough December. But if they beat Brentford and Wolves, they'll still be in a bit of trouble, because the other games will be difficult. But if you've got the boost of those wins, then you can, if you can nick a point here and there, you're still going to give yourself that buffer going into the second half of the season, where you think, if we just stay, enough ahead of these teams, we'll be all right. We won't have a nervous end. But none of us wanted this in the final season at Goodison, did we?
No. The Goodison says better than this. Slumping me next hurts and watching the ball go up in the air.
So, listen, there's no game this weekend. You can just relax for a good 10 days.
Just tell everyone this.
That's it. That's where we are right now. At least for a week. Let's sort of relax. A week's a long time in football. Anything could happen. We could be sat here next week and could have, new owners. We won't, because it's a few weeks away, but you know what I mean. Anything can happen in football, can't it? So let's just see what happens. Let's see what happens. Smile, smile, and the world will smile with you. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard being in England.
It is hard. Sophie, you want to be in this studio every day, listening to that lot next door who are winning every game and saying things like,
must be hard.
Well, saying things like, do you think Klopp was holding us back a little bit? I mean,
that's the worst.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Say what now? So listen, everything is in everything's in context. Everything's in context.
Yeah.
Right now, we didn't lose our last game. We didn't concede a goal in our last game, and we can't lose again for 10 days. That's that. Listen, hey, there's not often you can say we can't lose for 10 days.
The context sounds great.
There you go.
It just annoys me the way if go to Spurs and we would never go to the ground like that and win.
No, I know. But that is that's sort of risk and reward, isn't it? They sort of just went for it, but people would say to you there is, but they're expected to go down, therefore play with a bit of freedom. They're not expecting to get any result, and sometimes you can catch someone out by that. But we'll have our day, so you keep smiling, we will have our day. Well, we all do.
Yeah.
Right, Sophie, lovely to speak to you. Take care.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, see you soon. Take care. Bye, Sophie. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Right, last few comments.
Even my next play, we've only lost 1 game in 2 months.
There you go.
That's the
Stats.
kind of,
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
the
kind of
mindset.
dice stat that he enjoys.
Lies, and damn
What's going
lies.
to? Can I just jump in on the bandwagon thing? Because this is. I've already seen these tweets and stuff of the, and I just think it's funny. The Dice friends of Dice, I will call them.
Yeah.
Saying, see, those people who all wanted Jared Brantwaite to play. See, they've been showing up now. It's like we thought he was fit because he was on the bench, and then the manager did play him against West Ham. So if he wasn't fit, that's down to the medical team at Everton and the manager.
Yeah.
Like
The manager picks him.
the manager picked him, but also had him on the bench for the 2 games before, and also said he was fit. If he wasn't fit, that's not our fault. We can only go by the information we are given. If a player's on the bench and fit, he should be available to play. So you can't have it like, you can't say those things. You can't go, this is your fault because you wanted them to play. Yes, I wanted them to play.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's just crazy. It's just crazy time.
People are strange. There you go.
Strange.
There you go. Right, last couple of comments before we finish. Richard says, can you recap which loanees we have power on to keep or send back? Well, we could theoretically send them all back, but Lindstrom we're not going to send back, and he's playing. Mangala's playing, he ain't getting sent back. Broja is about to just start playing, he ain't getting sent back. Jack Harrison plays every game, is involved in every game, so he's not going back. So they're keeping all four, aren't they? Josh says, what I don't get is Dyche's right-hand man's an Evertonian and should know what we expect, especially at Goodison. Yet he continues to play in such a way that keeps the crowd flat. Seen this a couple of times about Ian Woan. Why doesn't he say something? But if Sean Dyche doesn't really
What's he going to say?
listen,
He's a member of staff.
he can only suggest. If the manager doesn't want to do it, there's nothing he can do, is there?
There's nothing only he can say, is there that? Like, I don't subscribe to that way of thinking, because he's the manager's right-hand man, and if he's an Evertonian, what can he do? Like, I don't actually want people who work for Everton to be led by their heart more than their head. I want them to do their job properly. You know, and that's it at the end of the day. I want them to have all the knowledge, and if Ian Woan understands different nuances of the fan base, that does help. But I do want them to just work from their head and not their heart, because that can lead to going back to the freakins. That can lead you to do silly things, make decisions on whims, and going back to old managers and stuff like that. You know, De Rossi or whatever. But it looks like they're appointing Claudio, doesn't it? Ranieri. So I don't think you should be making decisions via your head. For your heart. I think every decision you make, I'd hate to think that any manager was making decisions based on what he thought other people wanted him to do. That to me shows a lack of strength.
John says, go and get Iriola and David Weir as the doff. I don't know whether you could, but Jez says, Dave from the Bobblers, me and my two mates got up 30 minutes into the first half at West Ham, went for a hot dog, and then moved seats for the second half because we were miles back, and it was still shite. So there you go. Jez just bringing the truths. Jez spitting facts. Carla says, we also, on the Brantwaite thing, we didn't lose when he played the 2 games. Got 4 points out of 6 in the 2 games that he's played. So there you go. There you go. And Rod says, if they got Dunk back in any capacity, I think it'd give the club players and fans a big lift. Yeah, there you go.
Has to be for the right reasons, though.
No, of course.
Has to be for the right reasons. Again, it can't just be an emotional.
Well, our strikers might score if Duncan comes back.
It has to be for a real reason and not just a...
I'll be honest, I don't think he'd come back for that. I think he still wants another cracker at managing a club that isn't on its arse. So. But, you know, if Everton contracted him for the reason, like you said, to be this forward, the striker coach or whatever, he might, who knows? Who knows? But Toffee says, say that, Ped. Yeah, every manager that's won something has played for Everton. The club clearly have an element, half of the club in how they managed.
No, I agree. I agree with the point, but it's not. But that's an underlying. That's an underlying thing of understanding what the fan base is all about and making decisions via that yourself as the manager, or not. But that's like that could even be subconsciously because you are an Evertonian. Yeah. Rather than going, I think you should do this. The fans want you to play this player, or the fans want you to do that. I've no issue with Sean Dyche making decisions that he thinks are right, because then we can judge him on that. It's when you start having people who are like, oh, they're a bit noisy, this lot, over this player or that player, and then you play them, and it's like, you don't really want that kind of thing. That you want fans picking.
They're only noisy because Brantwaite's good enough to play. John, listen, I believe Everton can get most people, but David Weir turned us down to stay at Brighton and is now the director of football. Would he leave Brighton to come to Everton right now? I'm not convinced. If the Freakins got in and it settled down, there was more freedom to do stuff and better financial position, he may well do. You might be right. Iriola, don't know. I honestly don't know. Bournemouth, he's built a good little side at Bournemouth. If Everton went in for him with the money, of course Everton should be able to get Bournemouth's manager, in my opinion. Yeah. Brand new stadium, take over, coming in, pay him. Maybe we could. Maybe we could. I'm just saying there's no guarantees, but maybe we could. Why not? Certainly go and have a go. If that's the path you want to take, you go and have a go. Of course you do. Of course you do. But anyway, let's get to the position where we don't even, that line doesn't even come out of my mouth, and you go, of course we should go and get him right now. But we have to build ourselves back up a little bit. I think at least let it settle down so we look like we're moving forward, and people go, you know what, that is a club on the up, and there's that stadium coming, and them owners are in now. You can build the dream right now. Saying to Iriola, that team that's playing really well and you're doing really well, leave there and come to us. There's no money right now. We don't know whether the director of football's coming, blah, blah. And listen, I know it wouldn't happen right now because you'd be selling him the dream, wouldn't you? But he's doing really, really well. Of course he is.
Do you know what sells people dreams? Cash.
Of course it does. Listen, cash. Without a shadow, that's why you could go and get these managers in Europe and go, there's a big wedge, and they go, oh, I've always wanted to manage Everton. I remember them. Remember Neville Southall or Duncan, whoever it may be. So, of course, you can always get people. Koeman proved that, didn't he? We should never have got him, but cash made him come. Even though the club had decided they didn't actually want him in the end, but it was too far down the line. There you go. Let's make some sensible decisions. Right, that is just done. Like, subscribe, do all of that stuff, and we will take it easy. So make sure you do. See you tomorrow. Bye.